Just last week, y'all had black fatigue. Just last week, every other demographic who wasn't black, y'all had black fatigue. Now y'all are demanding black bodies to be put on the front line. There's other ways to protest, there's other ways to help. But I find it kind of insane that all of you had black fatigue.
Imagine being so hateful and so racist that you vote for your own mass deportation. Bananas.
Bro, you came here illegally, so you're getting sent back. Like, I'm not really understanding where I'm supposed to feel bad. Like, it's the law. Like, what? Am I missing something? Like, we also can't do that. We can't go to other countries illegally and just pop up and start working and all of that without things in order, without abiding by their laws. And to be honest, it's a much worse punishment if we end up doing that. I feel like America is being generous. Y'all are getting caught and then being sent by a plane or sent by a bus back home. That's pretty generous if you ask me. Like, if I go to Russia and try to pull that off, I might not come home. They might lock me up for 50 years for trespassing. Like, I'm confused. The media is trying to make us feel bad. And they're like, oh, this person was 15 years old. He was a hard-working boy. He was in high school, blah, blah, blah. And he was an illegal immigrant from Guatemala. Bro, you lost me. You lost me. He's illegal. So,
as Latinos, we need to have more empathy for the Cubans being wrongly deported, because no, we don't. Okay, this is exactly what you wanted. Inadvertently, you voted for this. All right, I'm reminded of that little jingle. I will vote for Donald Trump. And now that they're getting deported, I think, cogete a Donald Trump. You voted yourselves out. You voted your family members out by voting him in. You thought that it was only going to be los negritos, the ones that look like me that were gonna be, deported. Okay, and no, it has.
The Latino Republicans are publicly calling out what they describe as the black silence on the worsening U.S. border crisis. And even as thousands face deportation and immigration policy dividing the nation, some Latino conservatives are feeling abandoned, not by the left, but by the black voices they once marched alongside. And people are asking themselves, are really these calls valid? Or are they weaponizing solidarity only when it serves their political agenda? Yeah, so stay tuned as we unpack the deeper layers from performative allyship to political scapegoating. And this is more than a border issue. It's a mirror into America's racial fractures. Let's take a look.
All right, this message is for my brown people. And although us black folks decided to sit this one out because we did try to warn y'all at the polls, we do see that it's fucked up. California is a blue state. 66% of Latinos in California voted against Trump, but it's not enough. You got to work on your people that hate us. Then you got to rally your people because they hate you like they hate us. And don't tell me this is not about race. There's over 500,000 undocumented immigrants in America from Poland or Russia or Germany, the UK, Italy, Ireland, all over Eastern Europe. But they not joining the protests because they not being targeted. America has always been obsessed with race. You burglarize and steal someone's home, make laws that only protect you, then get upset when they want to move back in. Talking about, we need to protect our borders. Most of you never even met a Mexican American, and if you have, they probably doing a job that you would never want to do anyway. These ain't criminals. They're snatching up students and nurses and builders and farmers, electricians and plumbers. They got fucking armored vehicles pulling up on line cooks. You're separating mothers from their children and telling people who've been here for decades to just go and start a life somewhere else because you're uncomfortable. In their land. You just took their shit and was even too lazy to change the names. It's still San Francisco, San Diego, San Bernardino, Ventura, Calabasas, Rancho Cucamonga. But it's all in the name of law, right? Well, hanging people was law. Owning people was law. Segregation was law. Jim Crow, mass incarceration, redlining, stop and frisk. Law, 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 law. Just because it's written don't make it right. You know, Adolf had laws too. It's funny how you want people to follow the rules when they only benefit you. So let me get this straight. A man who was found guilty of committing 34 felonies is turning our troops against people who committed a civil violation. Being undocumented is a civil violation, not a felony. So who you put in office is far worse than any of these folks out here just trying to build a life in America. But y'all let him slide because he's white. I'm here in LA and not a single person died during these protests. 5 people died when they stormed the Capitol and those thugs were pardoned. Can you imagine if black and brown people stormed the Capitol? We wouldn't make it onto the fucking lawn before we got slaughtered. You naggers are all savages. You're tearing up property. Are you telling me that an insured Apple store or Louis Vuitton store is more important than the historic Capitol building of the United States? At least when black and brown people riot, it's for survival or civil rights. White America will burn a whole city down because their team won the World Series. So to all my brown brothers and sisters, coming from a people who's been fighting on the front lines for over 400 years, sacrificing our bodies so that Muslims and Asians and Africans and Indians and brown people can live a comfortable life in America, please realize that we are tired.
Latinos of all backgrounds, do y'all not realize black people are not the only people in this country? You got your Chinese Americans, your Japanese Americans, your Korean Americans, your Indian Americans, your Muslim Americans, your white Americans, and your own people. So why in Davy Jones' locker are y'all so pressed and mad at us because we not out protesting? Folks, we did the most effective protesting last November, and the data proves it. We protested when it mattered the most. We were not out here with whole productions talking about some we will vote for Donald Trump. Y'all was out here with that foolishness, knowing full well that y'all had a few abuelas, a few tios, tias, mijo, and mijas in your house undocumented. But y'all got y'all behinds on stage talking about some we will vote for Donald Trump. And you think we supposed to be out here protesting, picket fence in hand, clowning like some monkeys in a zoo? No.
Black people are tired of being a bank where everyone keeps making withdrawals and no one ever makes a deposit. And I want you to think about that. If that was your setup, would you still want to give? Especially for those of us in the Hispanic community, because it's about patterns that we've inherited and the harm that we've ignored. Me, myself, I'm Puerto Rican. I've seen how anti-Blackness and colorism still show up in our homes, in our language, in our media, in our families. In many families, darker skin is treated like a disadvantage. When solidarity is needed, hesitation shows what's been internalized, and too many of us were raised to believe that aligning with Blackness meant losing something: safety, opportunity, acceptance. And we were taught the proximity to whiteness would protect us, that staying quiet was safer. So if we don't unlearn that, we end up repeating the same harm we say we stand against. So disengagement is not okay. What's happening to immigrant communities right now is devastating. I'm not taking away from that, and it does deserve compassion and support. But a good portion of that fear didn't come from distant forces, and it came from within our own communities. I've spoken out because I've watched people I know support systems that were never created for us to begin with. Systems that weren't designed to protect us, only to use us when it's convenient. So while I've raised my voice, I also know too many that have stayed silent, or worse, they chose power. We don't get to ask for empathy if we're unwilling to confront the harm our silence helped protect. And contrary to popular opinion, holding each other accountable isn't betrayal. It's how we begin to heal.
In the past few weeks, Republicans who support Trump have been loudly talking about mass deportations, saying they'll move fast if he gets back in office. And this kind of talk isn't new from the GOP, but what's surprising now is that some Latino Republicans are really getting upset. And they're not blaming the Democrats. They're actually calling out Black Americans. And surprisingly, they're asking, why aren't you speaking up? And these Latino conservatives supported Trump, actually. They stood with his really tough rules on crime and immigration, even when their own people criticized them. And now that those same deportation policies are threatening their own communities, they're now feeling shocked, and they're even feeling betrayed. And what many Black Americans have been warning for years is that you can't avoid racism just by trying to really fit in. And some Latino Republicans are even saying that black leaders only speak up when it's about police violence. But they stay quiet now that ICE is breaking up Latino families. But what we're really getting is that this is a really serious accusation and it's really causing tension. But here's the truth. Black Americans have always stood up for what's right, even when it was not their fight. And they have joined immigration protests, they have stood with dreamers and even supported other communities in their struggles. And so maybe the real question isn't why Black Americans are being quiet, but why Latino Republicans thought that supporting anti-immigrant policies would protect them in the first place. And this moment is about just hurt feelings. It shows the clash between trying to gain power politically and remembering how history really works. And many Latino conservatives thought supporting Trump would give them safety and status. But now they're saying that being close to power doesn't always protect you, especially when that power wasn't made for you. And now some of them are asking for support from the same Black community they once criticized. And so what happens now? Will this be a chance for honest conversations between the Blacks and the Latino communities, or will it make the divide even more, or will it make it even bigger? Because one thing is certain, in America, no one is safe from a system designed to turn people against each other until it eventually comes after them too. And if we don't stand together now, we'll be silenced alone.